What's going on, guys? Domenic Iandolo here, back with another YouTube video for you guys. And today is going to be a very exciting one. We are actually going to be interviewing one of our old clients at the agency. His name is Johnny. He used to run a pet niche store, and we are going to be interviewing him, talking about everything from ABO strategies that we personally used for his store in order to scale it up to $315,000 in around 3.5 months. And we're also going to be discussing a few tips and tricks that we recommend for all beginners who are running their own e-commerce store to be applying into their own stores, and also just discussing the future of where we see advertising platforms go. So there's a lot of juicy content going to be discussed in today's video, but you are not going to want to miss out on this video. So I hope you enjoy.
What's up, guys? It's Johnny back with another one, and I'm here with my friend Domenic from Pinnacle Media. He was one of the ads managers that helped me scale to that much. So, what's up, Dom?
What's up, buddy? It's good to see your face again, man. I know you've been crushing it with a few stores and stuff right now, so I'm glad we're finally able to come out, make some content together.
Yes, sir. Me too,
Yeah.
man.
I guess even just to get a little bit of background on our come up. I know when our agency started working with Johnny, they were just approaching about 100K, and then when our team kind of came on board, we were the ones that really were managing, scaling, and we're taking it to, I think, was it around 315K or 335K? Forget exactly what
It
we
was
did.
315K.
315. Nice.
Yeah, before I sold it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess today we wanted to jump on because I know for myself, I know for sure for you, Johnny, as well too, is we get questions all the time from people across all of our social media networks, is like, how do you guys go from testing to scaling? Do you guys use ABO, CBO? And I think a big thing that I know we discussed was, especially for beginners, one of the biggest things is knowing how to properly and efficiently test so that you can get to scaling, which is where you're going to make all of your money. But you need to have a solid foundation, which is proper testing. So yeah, I know. I would love to hear you go over your ABO strategy first. I know that you've been in e-commerce for a while as well too. So
Yeah, man. So really what I do, like in the testing phase, I always get two creatives, at least two or more creatives.
yeah,
And just for the videos, I don't really switch up the text that much. So we get two creatives, right?
yeah,
And then we put them in a ABO, which is a interest targeting, right? So we target 10 interests in one ABO for
yeah.
testing at $10 budget each interest, and each interest is different, but it has to be relatable. It has to be okay. It has to relate to the product, like not too specific, but not too broad either, right?
Yeah.
So like that could be like interests, like magazines that relate to the products, TV shows, just general things. Like if we were selling like a mask, something just like mask, honestly, or like a dog bed, right? We could target dog or puppy or dog owner, you know what I mean? Or specific breeds of dogs.
Hmm.
So we launched 10 interests in one ABO at $10 a day.
Hmm.
And this is just for testing. I know beginners, you could do, $5 a day, $7 a day, but I usually like $10 a day, sometimes even 20, depending if the product is high ticket or not.
Hmm.
So we do it at $10 a day, and once one of the interests within that ABO campaign gets at least 3 to 4 purchases, that's when we double the budget. And then I usually duplicate that interest twice at the original $10 budget, and we see if that outperforms the one we just doubled.
Hmm.
So if it doesn't, we let it run for 2 to 3 days, and then we kill them. But if it does perform well, then we up the budget again.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And
Yeah.
I guess a question for you as well too, because I know a lot of people ask me this, is like, do you wait for a certain amount of time before you start turning off ad sets, or do you wait for a certain amount of impressions? What's your kind of angle on that?
Yeah, so I usually just run the things for 2 to 3 days, right? So
Mhm.
if I see that in 2 to 3 days, if I see that the ad set doesn't even get like an initiated checkout,
Mhm.
then I kill it, right? In
Yeah,
2 to 3 days, spending at $10 a day, that's $20, $30.
yeah,
So if I see that it does get like an add to cart with an initiated checkout, then I'll duplicate it again at $10, but I'll only do that one more time, right? Only
Mhm.
do that one more time, and I'll analyze the results after 2 or 3 more days. So that's usually how I go about that.
Yeah, yeah, that totally makes sense. And I know
Mhm.
like even a big thing for finding those interests to initially target, because I think like, people are well aware you need to, have, whether it's a $3 a day per ad set, or a $5, $7, whatever it is. How do you actually like going about finding those unique sort of audiences to target?
Well, honestly, I whatever product I'm gonna do, I do my research on that product, right? I do my research on the market, the type of people that would be into that product. Um, that's really how I find my interest. I mean, I kind of like if I find a product, for example, like the dog thing, I would target like people that would want the item, right? Like dog owners, even cat owners,
Mhm.
just something in that whole niche, in that whole pet niche. I'll target interest relating to like maybe birds, try birds, or
Mhm.
maybe you can try like a baby because a baby is like, you know what I mean? It kind of relates to like a baby pup.
Mhm.
And funny enough, I think I remember having a baby ad set in our in the old ads account that actually got a couple purchases.
Yeah.
So
I remember seeing that actually, and I was
yeah,
discussing it over with Riley. I was like, what the hell? This is crazy.
yeah, bro. So
Yeah.
like just interest, kind of broad interest, kind of specific interest, but not like too specific, to like where you're targeting like Frenchie owners or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not too specific, but not too broad either. But
Yeah.
those broad interests can actually, do well. So that's what it's all about is just testing,
Yeah.
right?
I know a big thing like when it comes to broad targeting, the only time you really want to utilize broad targeting as your main sort of strategy is when you are scaling to the point where like you've already almost scaled and you just have so much strong pixel data. Like I know that was something that we had going on for you when we were spending, $1,000 to $1,500 a day, and we had just like two or three campaigns that were so broad, but they were doing so well, right? Um, that was huge. I know something that we do as well too here is like we really believe strongly in the product and market research. And I think that's something that a lot of people overlook. A lot of people get so caught up in like how much budget do I need to be spending per ad set, how do I need to break this down, all these things, but they forget to look at really like the marketing strategy behind their campaigns, like why that campaign should connect with their audience. And I know that was something that you did very, very well. Whenever we were launching a new product or whatever, even if it was a new creative we were launching, like you just did such a great job at making sure that whatever was going on in that creative or with that new campaign, it was really tailored towards that audience and it was really going to land with them very, very well. And that's why I think pretty much our success rate was so high with new creatives and new campaigns that we launched because like so much went into the market and product research, right?
Yeah, a lot of people overlook that part, and like that's something a lot of people do not talk about.
Yeah.
You really just got to dive deep into the market research and product research. Like, if you find a product, like for example, like a razor, right? If you find a razor, a unique razor that doesn't cut your skin or anything, obviously you're going to be targeting that to men, maybe women, but mostly men, right? For beards. Okay, but like what type of men are going to use that razor, right? Like, is it corporate men, businessmen, men that want to look good? You know what I mean? Men that want to have their beard good, so, or a shaved clean face without any of the cuts, the BS and all that. So
Yeah.
like, what type of specific people are you going to target? Like versus a beginner, if they were to take that same razor, they wouldn't know the interest in the type of people that they would be able, like, or that they're going to target. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like
It's
you
so,
have
so
to,
true. Yeah.
yeah, you have to like really dig deep into the market research and find out who's going to use your product the most.
Yeah. I know a great tool. Now that obviously that I run my own agency, I haven't ran an e-commerce store in quite some time, but I know that when I did used to run an e-commerce store, and even now when we are looking at interest to target, we'll do a lot of cross-referencing between Google Trends and Facebook Audience Insights because it shows you so in depth what type of people are interested in what, right? So you can search up your niches and you can really go as as narrow as you want within a niche, kind of like what you said, like what type of men want to use that type of razor, right? And
Mhm.
it'll give you related topics. It'll give you all these sort of data points that you can use for your campaigns that'll really help you. And
Yeah, exactly.
we found that that helps a lot too, because I know within your ABO strategy, it's actually very similar to ours in the fact of if we see something that is getting a lot of sales, that 3 to 4 sale range is usually when you have a good idea that something is selling consistently. When we duplicate it, we do the same thing as you. We'll duplicate it 2 to 3 times. But what we'll do is we'll look at that original campaign, or sorry, that original ad set,
Mhm.
and we'll make sure and see like what demographics are actually connecting with that campaign. Like, is it maybe the 25 to 35-year-old audience that's actually engaging, clicking out, and purchasing? And if so, when we duplicate those new ad sets, we'll actually narrow it down to more narrowed down audiences within that new campaign that we're duplicating the ad sets into. We just find that that helps a lot with getting our ad spend to just go a further ways with that audience that we're trying to market to, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. I
Mm,
personally I don't go into demographics until like an ad set or a campaign at least has like around 100 purchases,
mm,
like 75 to 100. But I mean, that strategy works as well. And like I said, for beginners, they want to they look at too many YouTubers and different strategies, and then when it comes down to it, they don't know what's going on. They're so
yeah,
overwhelmed with information that they just looked up and found. So like, my advice to beginners is, stick to one strategy, 1 to 2 strategies, that you
yeah,
like, that you find that you like. Because obviously there's, good CBO strategies that you guys do. My personal favorite for testing and scaling is just ABO. Maybe throw in a CBO, test it. But my personal favorite is ABO that I've found personally.
mm,
And beginners don't have to like copy us. They could find what they like. If they like the ABO
yeah,
testing and scaling, if they like the CBO testing and scaling, if they found another method, they could do that too.
yeah.
So
Exactly. No, and that's so key too, because I think a lot of people also forget is like everyone's store is different. Like even though you might be following a YouTuber who's in the same niche as you, um, all the data is going to be different. Your ads account's going to be different. So making sure that you're doing things based on what data is coming in on your end and being able to correct yourself there, like that's the most
that's
important
key.
thing, right? And yeah,
That's
picking and pulling from different people and like seeing what it is that you like and what works best for you. Like that's really where the success really lies with it.
Yeah, bro. I can't tell you how many beginners have like looked at so many YouTubers and then told me like, hey, I've tried this YouTuber's ad strategy, but it didn't work. So like dropshipping is a scam. So it's kind of like, no, it's not a scam. It's just you're just so overwhelmed with the information you don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I was talking to one of my team members, Riley, today, and I was like, the reason why Johnny is going to be successful in e-commerce is because he knows exactly what to do within his strategy, but even beyond his strategy, like he's so good with product and market research that that's really the core foundation, because you can't really make your foundation your strategy. Your foundation needs to be like having solid market research and a really good sort of product that adds value to that niche, right? Because even
Mhm.
beyond a strategy, the strategy is useless if you don't really have good products and a good market to show your products to, right? And so
Exactly.
I think one thing that even above the ABO strategy, above all that, people really need to learn how to position their campaigns in the sense of what sort of research am I doing on my demographic, on my audience, and how can I be able to connect with that core group of people, right?
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, man. It really comes down to product and market research. Making sure your product is like a solving problem product. That's usually what e-commerce people sell, or the one that has the wow factor product.
Yeah.
Usually the problem solving ones sell way more than the wow factor ones, obviously. But if you can find a product that has both, shoot, go all for it.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I mean the cool thing too is like, even with all these tactics that we're talking about, right, which is having solid strategy, having good market research processes, stuff like that. You want this all to translate into not only just your ad campaigns, but your creatives, your copy, into your landing pages as well too. That was something as well, like I discussed with Riley, one of my team members today as well, is like if everything is very linear in the message it's communicating, Facebook's going to reward it. You'll have a really good engagement ranking, a really good placement ranking, all these things. And people will see a consistent sort of vision and message with your brand, right? And that's really what you want at the end of the day. Because I think consumers are getting a lot smarter these days, which is exciting, because now it's going to require people like us to add more value and do more for them, which is, I love that personally. And I think having like a really good, you know, overall brand is what's really going to sell.
Yeah, bro. That's something I wanted to talk about as well, is the whole transitioning and the consumers getting smarter. Um, like in 2021, I mean, consumers are getting smarter. They're catching on to, like, the scammy websites,
Yeah.
which are the drop shipping websites, unfortunately, because we ship stuff from China. So, like, kind of in 2021, I want to focus on helping beginners like transition from a drop shipping business into a branded business, because
Mhm.
once you have a branded business, um, your sales really skyrocket. Like, you get more trust, you get more customer satisfaction and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And Facebook recently, I don't know if you've seen this, but they rolled out a thing where, like, if you have a year, like if your account has a year or less in advertising and your page score, your business page score goes below a 2, you're automatically suspended. Like, you can't appeal it, you can't do anything with it. Like, you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah.
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 So,
There, I know Facebook is really focused right now on really making the customer and sort of consumer experience as good as possible. That's why they've included all these sort of metrics like an engagement ranking and landing page ranking, all these things in the business manager, so that you as an advertiser can actually improve those things, right?
yeah.
Um, they're doing so much. The other day, I actually got a survey from Instagram asking me to rate a bunch of different creatives and their copy. And so yeah, like they're really really cracking down on the quality of copy and the quality of creatives as well too, which again is like, if you have something that is well branded, a well branded company, those things are all easy because the message will be very linear. Like your creatives will all have the same sort of look to them. They're not going to look very like infomercially, which a
Mhm.
lot of drop shipping creatives look like. They just look like a bunch of like infomercials, but they're going to have like this nice linear message, and your brand's going to look really really well done.
Yeah, man, and that's really what I want to help beginners out with in this upcoming year.
Mhm.
Just because of Rona and all that stuff. Ever since Rona came into the play, Facebook has really like been cracking down, like you said, on like infomercial type of creatives and stuff,
Yeah.
and drop shipping. Yeah, in 2021, I really want to help beginners like just focus on, whenever they launch a store, brand it, make it look branded, but don't like go out and private label the product and stuff. Just make it look branded from the start.
Yeah.
That way you get more trust, just dude, customer support. If you're in the dropshipping business in 2021, customer support is going to be big. And so is creatives, like you said.
Yeah.
And literally, like, everything's going to be just a little much harder, like a little harder, just because Facebook,
Hmm.
it's the easiest platform to advertise on, but it's also like one of the ones that are cracking down on dropshippers.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%, 100%. I think that's awesome because I think there's a lot of people that need that, that initial bit of information to actually learn how to build a properly made store that doesn't look like everybody else, right? Like that's something
Yeah.
that's really really key. And the thing that I always tell people too is like your goal should be to have a well-branded store from the start, not when you start seeing results, but like if you're genuinely, whether you're passionate about a certain niche or you feel that like a product that you find has potential to build into a multi-product sort of store, whatever it is, like your goal should always be to have something that's well branded, because that's something that can sustain. And if you have something that is sustainable and is an actual brand, you can go off and sell that store down the road if maybe you want to sell that, which is exactly what you did with your last store, right? And it's because you had a sustainable long-term brand for that store.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I was actually thinking of, like, I was brainstorming ideas the other day. How can beginners like avoid the whole banning of the accounts if the page score goes below 2, right? Because customers usually, they psychologically, it's weird because it's not weird, but it's just like psychologically, when a customer sees that a product's coming from China, their expectations like tank, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're seeing, oh, this product is coming from China, must be crappy. It must be low quality. Sometimes, like me, I'm not even gonna lie. Like sometimes I used to think like that, right? Because I'm like, oh man, China. Our iPhones and almost all phones are made in China. But
Mhm.
like with drop shipping products, like products that people sell, the customers' expectations really go down when they see that, and then they complain to Facebook. The shipping speed is too long. And if your customer support isn't on point, they're gonna complain about that. And then the product quality, since they see it coming from China, they're gonna complain about that. So
Yeah.
like I was brainstorming ideas like, okay, so what if beginners, they do the whole ABO, CBO testing strategy, like they get 3 or 4 purchases and then they start scaling, right?
Mhm.
What if beginners, they ordered a little bit of units, like not a huge bulk order where they lose money, but just enough units where they can like fulfill orders for like a week, right? And they get the units and they fulfill it themselves. They don't use a 3PL. They don't do any of that. Now, I've been doing that. Like I've gotten a bulk order, and I've been like sending out units myself. And I want to show beginners how to do that, right?
Yeah.
Not order a huge bulk order. Just order a couple units to sustain you for like a week
Mhm.
and fulfill yourself, ship it from the USA. That will take the psychological fact of the customer saying, "Oh, it's coming from China. It must be crappy." Instead, they see that it's shipping within the US, and they're like, "Okay, those expectations don't exist, right, as much." And yeah, I mean, I think that would help beginners really like stay alive on Facebook.
Yeah. Oh, big time. There's so many things like I've been seeing so many services out there now that try to help people improve their Facebook feedback score because it is a big deal. And like personally, I'm on the same page as you where it's like instead of trying to get around the Facebook feedback score, why don't you just like work with Facebook and just provide good customer service, good shipping times, and a good quality product? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly, exactly. And that's why I stress like you always got to quality check the product yourself and see if you like it and test it
Yeah.
out for like a day or two and
Hmm.
see what your customer is going to get. Because imagine if you're on Facebook, you order something from a dope looking website, all cool, you get it, and then the product quality is just crappy. It sucks. It's not like it breaks in a day. It's kind of like, oh my god. And then
Yeah,
you're gonna
that's
have to go
definitely.
through the you're gonna have to go through the whole thing of contacting the customer support. And if they're not on point, you're not gonna get a refund. You're not even gonna get a return label or anything.
Yeah.
So they complain to Facebook, and then you're screwed. Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. And any time I have ever seen anybody try to work around Facebook or go against them and like try to be like sneaky, like it just never ends well. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
give it a week and like your ads account's disabled. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's insane. And I've really been wanting to learn Google Ads because they don't have a whole page score or anything like that. But
Yeah,
Google Ads it's a little more complicated to get on their platform because they make sure from the get go, like, dude, you better you
yeah,
better be good on your landing page. You better be good on everything. Like they're a lot more strict from the get go. But once you're on it, it's really overlooked and underrated.
yeah,
I've seen results from Google Shopping and Skags, and like, wow, like, it's way
yeah.
better than Facebook, but it's a lot harder to get into.
Oh yeah, for sure. It is totally more of a different process, right? Like even the way that I like to explain to people, because I know we have a few clients of ours that want to get onto Google is like basically the difference with advertising on Google to Facebook is Google is people who know exactly what they want. It's like them going to a mall, going into one store only, getting exactly what they need, and then going home. Whereas Facebook is like you go to the mall and you're just kind of doing laps and you're just kind of window shopping. And if you like something that you see, you walk in, you purchase it, maybe, right? And that's kind of different. So the strategies behind Google Ads are definitely a little bit more different than Facebook. But the cool thing is once you understand Facebook and understand the metrics that you're looking at and your overall funnel and everything, like Google's pretty simple. It's just again, you just have to do a little bit of market and product research and figure out what angle to take on that platform, right? Because
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
one thing that we're discussing right now as an agency is we want to really be, in the next, 2 to 5 years, like multi-platformed, which is like offering advertising services for Facebook, Instagram, Google, LinkedIn, TikTok, Snapchat, all these different platforms, because I think down the road, the brands are going to succeed are the ones that have this omnipresence and they're on so many different platforms, right? And
Yeah,
I think that'll be huge. And some of the stuff that I've been seeing, man, about like TikTok and Snapchat ads are like insane. Like the lowest CPMs I have ever seen in my life And I think it's just because it's undervalued, like it's so underrated and overlooked, right? And
Yeah.
it's just crazy. And like Facebook and Instagram, they know they run it, they know they run the show. Same with Google, right? So you pay a little bit more of a premium, but I mean, there's so many undervalued platforms out there that you can really reach a huge and large amount of people in your audience, right?
Yeah, bro, and that's another thing with like TikTok and Snapchat ads. It really depends on the product too, right? Like you
Yeah.
can't go on there, you can't go on Snapchat and try to advertise a product that, the demographics are like 40 and 60-year-olds, because 40 and 60-year-olds they're not on Snapchat.
Yeah.
Snapchat and TikTok is like a bunch for like the younger generation, right? From like
Yeah.
14 anywhere to like 25, 30 at max.
Yeah.
Um, but those are great platforms to advertise on. Like you said,
Mhm.
like down the road, brands are going to win. The ones that don't brand, they're not going to win.
Yeah.
And having omnipresence like Google, Snapchat, Pinterest, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, like if one of them goes down, you still have another 4 to 5 traffic sources coming in,
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's like another tip for beginners. I mean, it also takes time, to learn all these platforms. You're not just gonna magically learn it overnight because there's a lot to it, to be honest.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, even like TikTok itself, like it's just so like you have to almost be such a good content creator on some of these platforms, right? So it does take a lot of time. And yeah, exactly what you said. Like I'm totally on the same page where it's like depending on what platform you're utilizing, everything you create has to be contextual to that audience and to that platform, right? Like even from me going from Instagram to Facebook, like we're still changing copy depending on which one of those two platforms are using because I understand that yes, Facebook and Instagram are huge, but probably an older demographic, even if it's slightly older, is on Facebook compared to Instagram, right?
Oh
So
yeah,
just always keeping in mind, like, where are you advertising, right?
exactly. And like Google, Google has like all the demographics on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Google is just like that's a monster, dude.
Mhm.
Like if you can learn Google, I've seen like shout out Charlie Brandit. If you know who that is, that guy is insane with Google ads. That dude is just wow. That's like 600K in revenue every month from Google ads, which is crazy. Just from Google ads, like that's insane.
Damn, that's crazy. And he's on YouTube as well too.
Yeah, he's on YouTube as well. He's a
Perfect.
really he's a really dope content creator. He just doesn't post as much just because he has his e-com stores sustaining him, so he's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
man, insane.
yeah. Yeah, we've seen some pretty interesting things on Google. And even some stores that like, in the testing phase don't perform on Facebook, they'll perform really well on Google and kind of vice versa, right? Like you have to be willing to test things, especially if you're building an e-commerce store, like you should be doing it because you want to build something sustainable, right? So
Yeah, exactly. The product currently that I'm running on Facebook, because
mhm.
my accounts got suspended, so I'm kind of in a stuck position right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Facebook's been giving me a really hard time from the store that I'm at currently running.
Hmm.
Um, there's a guy on Google advertising the same product, but just on Google. And I've looked at his numbers and they're insane, bro. Like the same product that I'm advertising on Facebook, they're advertising on Google and they're freaking killing it, bro.
That's
Insane.
that's insane.
Makes me a little sad, but it's all good.
Yeah, it's classic Facebook. Yeah. I mean, hopefully they reinstate your account. I'm sure I mean, do you set up kind of backup accounts? Is that something that you like to put in place, is setting up backup ads accounts?
Yeah, I mean, I burned out my account with all three business managers that I had, so I can't use that. So I'm using my girlfriend's, but they suspended like her actual like Facebook account from creating ads,
No
managing
way.
ads. Yeah, bro. So I'm waiting on that, and I had to verify my business. When Facebook asks you to, like, they've been asking everybody lately, like, verify your business, put in all the info from your LLC. I've done that, but now I'm waiting for an answer. So Facebook loves taking their time. So yeah, and I mean my product that I'm currently advertising is somewhat COVID related, and that's kind of why you know what I mean. That's kind of why they're disabling my stuff. So I'm kind of having a hard time with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks, man.
Yeah, I know it's kind of that seems to be kind of like a common issue between a lot of a lot of advertisers right now, especially within like the industry of like health and safety. Like they're really cracking down on that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah, bro. Sucks, but I mean, I'm not complaining too much. I
Yeah,
made a pretty good amount of money off this store already. So
that's so sick. Yeah, I know you've been showing me your numbers, and I'm like,
yeah,
holy,
we're at like 300K in under 2 months. So
that's unreal.
yeah, bro. It's just I kind of got stuck with inventory. So, but I'm figuring it out. I'm not really, like I said, not complaining too much. I've made quite a bit of money already.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah,
that's sick. Good for you, bro. Good for you.
yeah, man.
Hey, I
Thank you.
guess I know me and you discussed. We kind of want to finish off on discussing. Right now, we're obviously in Q4. We just got out of the U.S. election. Thank God. What a crazy time for advertisers during that period of time.
Yeah.
But do you have any sort of tips, during Q4, during this time, that you would recommend to people who are advertising on Facebook to lower their CPMs, to lower their cost per clicks? What do you sort of like to do?
Really, just try to use kind of like dynamic creative, like use at least 2 to 3 different creatives, like creative videos, that could be images, that could be text.
Yeah.
Try to switch it up a little bit. That should lower CPMs, and try to what would you say, like advertise to different markets, right? That could lower, because I know US is one of the biggest ones that increase CPMs. Like if you're only targeting like one market, then your CPMs are gonna kind of float in the same area. But if you target other markets, right, your CPMs will kind of lower.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Is whenever you're, especially for some reason in Q4, when you're targeting really North America, like Canada and the US are the worst. Like
Yeah,
CPMs and cost per click were through the roof. Right now, they've actually gotten significantly better since the US election's been over. But man, I remember like we would launch campaigns and see like $40 CPM. Like it was disgusting.
jeez.
It was, and we would see this within like a day, and we'd just be like, "Okay, turn these off. Like this is absolutely atrocious." And
Oh my
so
god.
yeah, the things that we do is, yeah, I 100% agree. Like the dynamic creatives are a great way to be able to test it and lower those two metrics. Another thing too, we don't typically do this, but with the detailed targeting expansion, we have been utilizing that quite a bit, and we found that that has significantly lowered our CPMs and our cost per click. Um, I know we already mentioned targeting different locations, things like that.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it is one of those things where like you have to broaden your audience a lot more. Like I know for us, when we're finding good audiences within the ad sets we're creating, we're
Mhm.
typically using audiences that are like 1 to 3 million. That's kind of like our sweet spot. We find that like usually ad spend can go a long ways within those audiences. But right now we're trying to aim for like audiences of 25 plus million per ad set.
Yeah.
Just trying to really open up our audience just so that we can reach more of those people. And
Mhm.
for some reason, I guess Facebook's just been rewarding us for that, and we've been seeing a lot lower CPM and cost per click. So that's something that we've been utilizing.
Yeah, man. And beginners, listen to this. So
Yeah,
in case you see your CPCs and CPMs go through the roof, um, use these little tips and guides. Try them out and see if it works for you guys.
yeah, yeah, big time. And yeah, like if you have your metrics and your Facebook account set up properly, you'll be able to see everything of what you're doing and see the progress, right? Like 100%. And when you're testing these different things, like make sure you're testing these things in different campaigns so you can almost split test them against each other, and you know which ones to continue to run and which ones you should just kill right away. So yeah, those tips are absolutely critical. Like I said, we were seeing CPMs that were like in the $40 range. It was so
That's
ridiculous.
crazy.
It was honestly like we were like laughing about it. We're like, this is crazy. Like, how's anyone advertise on this? And
Yeah.
yeah, we've been able to get it manageable. Like clients who were at a $15 to $10 CPM, we've gotten their things to closer to that range now, which is really nice. So
Dope, bro. So, guys, that was the little interview with Dom from Pinnacle Media. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment what you guys want to see next. I'm going to be trying to post twice a week. I think Dom is too. I don't know, but I'm trying to motivate him to. So I said it now. So you got to post twice a week, bro. All
all right, looking like I'm posting twice a week. You got me committed now.
right, man. Yeah, peace. Peace, guys.
Well, guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in. And like Johnny said in that video, I'm going to be trying to post 2 times a week. I know it's been a little bit difficult. I am running a full-time company right now, so making a lot of content can be a little bit stressful, but I'm going to do my best to be pushing out as much YouTube content as possible, trying to help you guys with any tips and tricks that I know will be very, very useful to you guys. So do not forget to smash that subscribe button, press the like button on this video as well. It helps a ton with the YouTube algorithm. And stay posted for more content coming weekly. We will see you guys next time. Peace.